I'm Mai, and I'm one of the co-founders of Dream Job Catcher, where we've helped over 1,000 senior level professionals land jobs that they love in today's crowded and competitive job market by helping them tap into the hidden job market, where 70% of leadership opportunities are filled before they ever hit the job boards. Meaning, if you are relying on applying online, then oftentimes you aren't optimizing your search efforts to the highest yielding activities to get the interviews and offers that you're actually hoping for. I've heard time and time again that looking for a new job feels like a full-time job in itself, and it feels like everything's just going into a black hole. I've heard stories of people applying to hundreds, sometimes even thousands of jobs over the course of many months with little to no results. And I've also heard that it feels like the more senior you get in your career, the more difficult the job search becomes. However, I'm here to share with you today that those things are not true. A highly effective job search only takes about 4 to 8 hours on average per week. Anything more than that leads to diminishing returns, loss of confidence, and frustrations that will permeate into other areas of your life. The truth is, the more senior you get in your career, the more simple the job search actually is. What is crucial to understand is what got you here won't get you there. So using outdated and traditional methods of job searching will just lead to an endless loop of disappointment. So today, I want to address how you can make some simple shifts in your job search to turn an overwhelming search into a gratifying journey that actually leads to a job that you'll love and thrive in. And no matter how your job search has been going up until this point, your dream job exists and it's out there waiting for you. So here's what we'll cover today. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to break it all down for you. I'm going to share some helpful, oftentimes counterintuitive tips for approaching today's job market at a senior level. So first, we're going to go over the state of the current job market for senior professionals and the 2 simple shifts you can make to gain success. Then I'm going to show you how to reverse engineer the job search to get interviews and offers from growth companies while giving you examples from our clients. And lastly, I will share with you an overview of our Dream Job Search Accelerator program. This is the program that senior leaders use to 2x the speed of their job search and also increase their compensation on average by 35%. While having more work-life balance and growth in their career. Okay, so let's dive right in. The 2 words I would use to describe the current job market would be noisy and messy. And sometimes you might even see hundreds, if not thousands of people applying to an open role after it's been posted for like a day. And that is noise. And the messiness comes in when all the headlines are about layoffs and recessions, when the truth of the matter is that there are 4 times the amount of opportunities than there are the number of people who got laid off. So let's say there were 300,000 people who got laid off last year. There were 1.2 million opportunities. What this really breaks down to is that the right candidates are not meeting the right hiring managers, leading to frustration for all parties involved, including the recruiters. So the best way I can illustrate this is to show you what's really happening on the job boards, where most people are spending their time and energy. So here's an example of a search result on a job board for a senior level role that requires about 10 to 20 years of experience. So right off the bat, I wanted to share with you that 30% of these roles are already filled. They're just posting the role online after they found the candidate for compliance reasons. So those are not really available for you to apply for. And another third of these opportunities will be shell opportunities where the companies are just holding the headcount and they are not actively hiring for these. So another third of these would be in calibration mode. And what that means is hiring managers will put a job description out there because they are looking to have someone join their team, but they're not exactly sure what they're looking for. So these are kind of just in calibration, meaning they'll get a couple candidates in and then they might change the direction of where they'd like that role to go. And that's pretty frustrating to go through a full loop and then to hear that, hey, they're going in a different direction. And so I would say about 10% of the time, the roles might actually be available for external candidates to apply to. However, going the online route and applying while there's hundreds and thousands of people is not the best bet for those opportunities. So I'm going to share with you how to go about that in the next stage. So now that you know how job boards work, what shifts can you make to avoid the roller coaster of emotions that come along with applying to jobs online? Well, the first one is really easy. You just stop. You just stop applying to jobs online, since 85% of roles are filled through networking and 70% of jobs never make it to the job boards. So when you shift away from the crowded job boards, you're actually shifting towards a blue ocean strategy that feels much more open. And the second shift you want to make in order to get success in your senior level job search is to optimize for having human-to-human interaction. with the people at growth companies and teams that you're interested in. When you reorientate yourself to growth teams, not only do you get to grow and thrive in there, but they also have very quick hiring practices. Now, I have more to cover with you, but if at any time you'd like, feel free to click on the button below to book a call and chat with us and discover if you're a good fit for our Dream Job Search Accelerator program. So now we'll dive into the second part of today's content, which is how to reverse engineer the job search to get the interviews and offers that you actually want with those two shifts that I just mentioned in mind. You want to start with the end in mind. So if there was a really great offer for you on the table, you want to understand what that looks and feels like to you. And that could be the components that are important to you in the company that you work for and the components of the role that you're really wanting to move into in this next phase of your career. Once you have that clarity, you're able to build a really great company and target list of roles to give your job search much more focus. So once your target list is created, then the next piece is to move into telling the right story for these companies and roles. And that really entails 360 cohesive view of your resume, LinkedIn, and your elevator pitch in terms of how you're talking about your value and impact. And once your story is resonating with the value and impact that you can make at these companies, then the next piece is the most important piece that almost everyone overlooks. And this is the part where you want to take that story that you just created and make sure that the right people are hearing it. And if I really break all that down, we call it strategic networking. And strategic networking is a word that could conjure up a lot of things for a lot of people. However, it's really broken down to one-on-one conversations with the people and the leaders at teams and companies that you're interested in talking to. And it truly is the most important part because, as I mentioned before, a lot of roles are not posted online until they found a candidate. So with your target list, a third of those companies, if they are in growth mode, will be actively hiring. You just want to find out from those teams if those opportunities are aligned for you. And then another subset of companies on there, which is really exciting, they create roles for you. And so you definitely want to connect with them. And then there's another subset of roles on there that you might see those online. But the best way to go about that is still to make internal connections and then go about it that way. So here we are, strategic networking. We want to take a look at who the second degree connections are at our target list companies. And then from there, we're able to identify shared connections. And those shared connections are people who have gone on to make new networks. They don't necessarily have to be a first degree at that company, but they know someone there. And, this is a point where dormant ties are really, really helpful. A lot of our clients, sometimes think, oh, I haven't talked to this person in, 5 to 10 years. And it's so interesting because we can never really guess who's going to be helpful. We still want to reach out to them anyway and just see where they are. And oftentimes, let's say 80% of the time, they are able to make an introduction for our clients to talk to someone and have a really impactful conversation. And when these impactful conversations are happening, you are invited into the interview without ever needing to apply online, right? So the momentum there is the person the new connection that you're making is saying, hey, you should come meet the rest of the team. And when you are going to the interview that way, you're much more leveraged than anyone else who is applying online. And so the thing to really optimize for in your job search is really how to secure these these strategic networking conversations, because roles get created for people all the time. And so at that point, we've done most of the heavy lifting. So if you're going to the interview that way, then we're ready for interview prep and negotiations. And that all happens much more seamlessly when you've approached a job search with those other steps in play first. Now, I have more to cover with you, but if at any time you'd like, feel free to click on the button below to book a call and chat with us and discover if you're a good fit for our Dream Job Search Accelerator program. So here's our client, John Carlos, who landed an amazing job in our program by following these steps, right? So when John came to work with us, he was already 15 years into the company that he had been at. He was ready for a change. He was ready for a new growth opportunity. However, he was not sure how to approach the job search because he had been at one place for about 15 years. And so when he came to us, he was targeting things that were all over the board, meaning some small startups all the way to big top Fortune 10 companies. And it just made it very scattered for him. However, once he got the clarity and really was able to envision the things that he loved to work on in the career trajectory that he had, he was able to narrow in on a subset of companies he was so excited about. This is the part about John's story that I love. So once he got the clarity of what he wanted to target, he was able to map out the connection points. And surprisingly enough, the person that introduced him to the right team at Planet was a sister of a friend. So this is just to say that if you don't map out the strategic networking pieces, you're not able to make those connection points. And then also, you don't have a starting place of where you want to do the networking. That's also hard. So having the clarity of what to target and then being able to tell the right story, moving into having the right conversations with the right people will get you the right traction. Here's another great story of a client that we worked with, Melissa. So Melissa has had an amazing career, and the point where she came to work with us, she was at EY and she wanted to go in-house, and that was an unfamiliar process for her. So she needed to just get the clarity on what it was that she wanted to target in terms of company size and company culture. And so we were able to help her narrow in on some companies that she was not aware of. Anyway, she landed a job that she loves at Avalara, which is a really, really, a unicorn thriving company. And since then, since she landed her dream job, she's gotten like 2 promotions. So that's another point that I wanted to iterate in terms of finding the right growth companies for you, because when you go there, you get to grow by leaps and bounds versus companies that are struggling to grow. And so can't iterate that enough: growth companies and growth teams. And here is the story of our client Kernal. We got to work with Kernal not only through 1 job search, but 2. And so his story is like this. So he came to work with us when he was not having great traction in the job search. So he was in a different industry than the one he wanted to go to. So he was in the manufacturing industry and he wanted to go to tech. And so he wasn't finding success applying online, so he started working with us, and he started to really hone in on his story in terms of the transferability and how he could really create change and impact. And then coupling that with the networking, he got this amazing opportunity at Peloton. And while he was at Peloton, he got recruited by Google and Meta because his professional branding was really on point towards the things he wanted to work on. And he ended up taking this role at Meta, and he's grown into a leader there. And so I just love the story so much that sometimes there's a bridge role in between, and that could be really fulfilling too. And so those are some examples, and here are over 1,000 people that we've helped really simplify this journey down. So I wanted to share that with you, and then now I get to share with you our Dream Job Search Accelerator program, where we help senior leaders find and land their dream job. And we work with you until you sign an offer that you're excited about. So the job search process really breaks down into 4 main steps, and this is what we partner with our clients to do in this program. So once the client joins the program, we will help them find that clarity, help them build that target list, help them align their story to what they're wanting to do, help them break down the networking to make it a simple process. We show them what to say when they go on informationals. We show them how to really connect with the right people, and then be able to guide those conversations into leverage interviews. And then once we are in that stage, most of the heavy lifting is pretty much done. Even though interview prep is intense, you've done a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of actually propelling into an offer at that point. So last things are to prep for the interview, and then as the offer is formalized, we'll help you negotiate. And most of our clients are doing 35% more in overall comp. So that is something that you can lean into as well when you are the no-brainer candidate. Like, you're able to look at that offer, map back to the criteria items that are important to you, make sure those are representative, and then open up for more in terms of negotiations. But when you sign this offer, you have everything that you want and need in an opportunity. And so that's what we do in the program. And you're also surrounded by peers at your level to go through this endeavor, where sometimes it can feel really isolating. And this time you're doing it within a really, really great cohort of people who understand what you're going through and partner with you and are invested in your success all the way to the end. So we work with you until you sign an offer that you're really excited about. So if you are ready to take your job search to the next level and get more structure and accountability and the results that you're hoping for, I really do encourage you to book a call with my team. We are there to help you understand if this is the right program for you. Space is pretty limited in the sense that we are pretty tailored in terms of like each leader that comes in. We do give them undivided attention. So space is pretty limited, but book a call and see if it is the right thing for you. I really wish you your dream job, and I hope to see you on the other side. Thank you so much.